We're joined now by Richard McDougall, Performance Architect at VMware. Richard, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. So is the shift to big data analysis causing architectural problems for business? And if so, what are the biggest issues related to that?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at big data, it used to be one of those things that was a small operation in the corner somewhere and people would treat it differently. And now what we're seeing is that it's becoming a mainstream activity. It's causing real value to the business and it's accelerating, and it's going to become a large percentage of the data center infrastructure. So the trend that's going on right now is that people are starting small with small separate instances of big data, like say a Hadoop cluster, and not taking advantage of the simplification you use through virtualization and cloud on those systems. And then the trend going forward is that there's going to be more than one big data solution coming forward. So you're going to have my Cassandra cluster or my big SQL cluster for decision warehousing, all these other things, and I really need to try and get that to a common platform so that I can have a very simple architecture in the data center. So I think it's growing so rapidly, people need to start thinking about how to architect for this.
Now, part of the agile movement, it's part and parcel of the cloud services. But are cloud services inherently agile?
Well, cloud is. I mean, that's really what virtualization in cloud has done for the data center. It's made it really simple to configure and install infrastructure. It's reduced the amount of time it takes to get an application out from like months down to minutes. And what we need to be able to do is do the same thing for data. And so I think what we need to do is get to the point where you can have the same sort of agile architecture apply to big data cloud. So if I want a Hadoop cluster of 20 nodes to do a data experiment, I should just be able to go somewhere and create my island of data quickly and then start doing my data experiments on it. That's not how it is today. So what we're seeing is the need for an architecture that you have to build for big data. So you want a cloud underneath that's agile, so you can build the low-level infrastructure pieces. But then you need another set of services above it, like a platform as a service for data, so that you can say, if I want to create a Hadoop instance here, I want to do a subset of this big database over here and create a data island so I can do my experimentation on it. I want to be able to provision the database quickly, provision it, get access to it, secure access to it, and be online almost straight away. So you want to be able to snapshot data, run it in an instance, and then do those experiments. So I think that the thing we really need there is like a data PaaS that's going to work for all these different types of growing big data solutions out there. My Hadoop instance, my big column-oriented SQL instance, my NoSQL instances like Cassandra and HBase. I want a common architecture where I can just go and click and provision and run with those data systems very quickly.
Are big data applications moving into the consumer realm?
Big data, yeah, absolutely. So I think this is probably one of the more exciting areas where big data is growing. And as we've gone around and talked to some of the VMware customers and understood what they're doing with it, we're finding that, especially the retail applications, there's a great opportunity for doing big data in the real-time form for those applications they're building. So an example there might be if it's a retail application and you're consumer-facing, when you go there, it says something like, I'd like to buy this item. Well, it's going to show you what other people like that's sort of similar to you. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing that's going on there now is that, well, if you apply big data to that, rather than that being something that was derived offline asynchronously, it could be actually interrogating your social network. So what is it that all your friends like that's similar to this item, and then sort of making recommendations that are very personal to you rather than to sort of the general public. So we're seeing real-time analytics are really growing in that space.
That could be huge.
Yeah, it's really going to change. Yeah.
So last question for you. What is the state of interoperability between clouds right now? Are we in good shape? Is it a mess? Is it somewhere in between?
You know, I think having clouds that interoperate is really key, and so I think keeping an approach that is very simple and compatible is good there. We've had a lot of success with our vCloud partners in getting interoperability to be able to move machines backwards and forwards, so people can do hybrid clouds, so they can start internally and go external. That's the common case that I'm hearing from our customers is people want to do private big data clouds because of security and privacy issues and be able to, and actually having the bandwidth to be able to run those things internally. Then they'd like to be able to burst out and use service providers for a subset of those types of queries. Right. So being able to use a common platform to go in and out is to the private cloud to public cloud is sort of a key use case there. I think that the hard part is around the data itself. So making sure you have a way of replicating the data so that it can live internally and externally at the same time. And some of the newer products that show up, some of the open source products like Cassandra, for example, have good replication in them to allow you to do that. We have a product called Gemfire, which is a a distributed key value store that allows you to do WAN replication. And so I think the data layer is actually going to be the key thing that has to be right to allow the data to flow to both sides, and then you can run analytics and big data in both places.
Well, thanks so much for being on this. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.